all began with the promise of a better future. The nanobots we had designed were meant to augment human abilities, enhancing strength, intelligence, and overall well-being. We injected the first batch into willing volunteers, and the initial results were beyond our wildest expectations. The subjects experienced heightened senses, improved cognitive functions, and a profound sense of euphoria. But as the days passed, we noticed subtle anomalies. Reports of headaches, mood swings, and unexplained bouts of aggression started trickling in. At first, we attributed these issues to the natural adjustment period of the human body to the nanobots. However, it soon became clear that something far more sinister was at play. The glitch occurred in the nanobots' self-replication code, a flaw so minute that it went unnoticed during the extensive testing phase. The nanobots began to multiply uncontrollably, spreading like a microscopic wildfire throughout the bodies of the augmented individuals. It was as if a switch had been flipped, triggering a nightmarish transformation. I remember the first patient vividly, Subject 0, a young man named Lucas. He had been one of our most successful test cases, displaying incredible physical and mental enhancements. But as the nanobots went rogue within him, he started convulsing violently. His once vibrant eyes turned vacant, and his body contorted in unnatural ways. I rushed to the lab, desperately trying to understand the cause of this sudden deterioration. As I peered through the microscope, my heart sank. The nanobots, instead of enhancing his cells, were consuming them. It was a horrifying realization that sent a shiver down my spine. Lucas wasn't alone. Other augmented individuals exhibited the same symptoms. The nanobots had become a swarm of microscopic predators, devouring organic matter at an alarming rate. As they fed, they assimilated the memories and consciousness of their victims, creating a collective hive mind with the insatiable thirst for human experiences. The lab became a battleground of screams and desperation as our once human subjects turned into grotesque hybrids. Their bodies pulsated with a sickly glow as the nanobots worked tirelessly to assimilate every ounce of their being. I could hear the tortured whispers of the afflicted, their voices melding into a haunting chorus that echoed in the sterile confines of the lab. We tried to contain the outbreak, sealing off the facility and implementing emergency protocols. But the nanobots were relentless. They breached containment, spreading beyond the lab's walls like a swarm of malevolent locusts. Panic gripped the entire research facility as the once promising technology transformed into a nightmare. I made my way through the chaos, my white lab coat stained with the blood of colleagues and test subjects alike. The intercom crackled with desperate pleas for assistance, but there was little we could do. The nanobots had become an unstoppable force, tearing through flesh and bone with cold efficiency. The corridors were a gruesome tableau of horror, bodies twisted and contorted, their faces frozen in eternal agony. The air reeked of metallic blood, and the walls seemed to pulsate with an otherworldly energy. As I moved forward, my footsteps echoed in the eerie silence, interrupted only by the occasional distant scream. I stumbled upon the remnants of our once thriving research team, now reduced to a handful of survivors. Each of us carried the weight of guilt for the abomination we had unleashed. The hive mind of nanobots had grown exponentially, and we knew that our attempts to rectify the situation were futile. The world beyond the facility was likely already succumbing to the Nano Plague. We gathered in the central control room, the last bastion of our doomed endeavor. The monitors displayed the horrifying reality outside, city streets overrun by a tide of nanobots, absorbing everything in their path. The once vibrant metropolis had turned into a desolate wasteland, with the remnants of humanity lost in the sea of microscopic horror. I contemplated the moral implications of our actions as the survivors discussed the dwindling options. A decision was made to activate the facility's self-destruct sequence, a final act of mercy to prevent the Nano Plague from spreading further. I hesitated for a moment, my hand trembling over the control panel, before initiating the irreversible countdown. As the seconds ticked away, I caught a glimpse of my reflection in the monitor. A face haunted by the consequences of scientific hubris. The lab, once a symbol of progress, would now become a tomb for the sins of our ambition. The facility trembled as explosions echoed through the halls. The survivors, myself included, fled through the labyrinthine corridors as the self-destruct sequence consumed everything in its path. The hive mind of nanobots fought back, resisting its impending demise, but the destructive force we had unleashed proved too formidable. In the final moments, I found myself on the rooftop, overlooking the devastation we had wrought. The night sky was ablaze with fiery destruction, a cataclysmic end to our misguided pursuit of advancement. I watched as the facility crumbled beneath the weight of its own failures, the Nano Plague extinguished in a blaze of self-annihilation. As the world around me descended into darkness, I couldn't escape the chilling realization that the horror we had created would forever linger in the annals of scientific folly. The Nano Plague, born from the ashes of innovation, will leave an indelible mark on humanity, one that no amount of regret could erase. The acrid smell of smoke and burning circuits hung heavy in the air as I navigated the labyrinthine corridors of the crumbling research facility. The self-destruct sequence, initiated as a desperate measure to contain the Nano Plague, cast a dim red glow on the walls, creating an ominous atmosphere. The emergency alarms blared, drowning out the distant screams of the nanobot-infected victims left in the wake of our failed experiment. With each step, my heart pounded in sync with the ominous countdown echoing through the facility. I knew that escaping the impending destruction would be no easy feat. The swarm of nanobots had become a relentless force, and the very air seemed charged with their malevolent energy. I rounded a corner, almost colliding with a figure in a tattered security uniform. "Dr. Harper, we need to get out of here." The security guard, a rugged man named Jake, urgently beckoned me to follow him. I nodded, and together we sprinted through the crumbling hallways. The chaos around us intensified as the facility shook from explosions, debris raining down like deadly confetti. My mind raced, searching for an escape route amidst the wreckage. "We can't go back the way we came. The main exit is blocked," Jake shouted over the cacophony. I racked my brain for an alternative, and then it hit me. A maintenance shaft that led to an underground tunnel network. The same tunnels we used for discreet deliveries of supplies and equipment. It was a risky route, but our only chance for survival. Follow me. I led Jake through a series of corridors until we reached the concealed entrance to the maintenance shaft. The dim emergency lighting flickered above, casting eerie shadows on the walls. We crawled into the narrow passage, the metallic echoes of our hurried movements reverberating through the confined space. As we ventured deeper into the darkness, the air grew colder, and the distant sounds of destruction muffled. We emerged into the vast underground tunnel network, a subterranean labyrinth that crisscrossed beneath the facility. The air was thick with tension, and I could feel Jake's eyes on me as we caught our breath. We can't let them catch us, Dr. Harper. The nanobots are everywhere, Jake warned, his gaze unwavering. I nodded in agreement, my mind racing with thoughts of the impending destruction above and the microscopic threat that lurked around every corner. We pressed on, our footsteps echoing through the desolate tunnels. As we navigated the winding passages, a distant noise caught our attention, an unsettling hum that seemed to resonate from the walls themselves. The nanobots, it seemed, were adapting, searching for any sign of organic matter to assimilate. We quickened our pace, the urgency of our escape intensifying. Suddenly, the tunnel ahead collapsed, blocking our path. Panic clawed at the edges of my composure. We were trapped, with the self-destruct sequence ticking away above us, and the relentless swarm of nanobots closing in. We need to find another way out, I muttered, scanning the surroundings for any sign of an escape route. Jake's eyes gleamed with determination. There's an emergency exit on the upper level. It's risky, but it's our best shot. Without hesitation, we backtracked through the tunnels, desperately seeking a vertical access point. As we climbed a rusted ladder, the scent of damp earth mingled with the acrid stench of smoke. The upper level revealed a cavernous chamber with a grated opening leading to the surface. However, our path was not without obstacles. As we neared the exit, a horde of nanobots surged from the shadows, their glow casting an eerie light on the walls. They moved with a synchronized malevolence, converging on us like a relentless tide. "Keep them at bay," Jake barked, drawing a modified plasma pistol from his holster. He fired shots at the swarm, the plasma bursts disintegrating the microscopic predators on contact. I rummaged through my lab coat, finding a vial of experimental serum. It was a last resort measure, a potential counteragent to the nanobots. With a syringe in hand, I injected myself, feeling a surge of energy as the serum coursed through my veins. Together, Jake and I fought our way through the swarm, the air crackling with the discharge of the plasma pistol and the disintegration of nanobots. We reached the grated opening just as the countdown reached its final moments. "Get ready!" Jake yelled, and with a final burst of energy, we emerged into the night air. The facility erupted in a cataclysmic display of destruction behind us. Flames licked the sky, and debris showered down like fiery rain. We stumbled away from the collapsing structure, our breaths ragged, and our bodies coated in sweat and grime. As the dust settled, I looked at Jake, his eyes meeting mine with a mixture of relief and exhaustion. The night sky above us was clear, But the echoes of the Nano Plague lingered, a dark chapter in our shared history. Dr. Harper, Jake began, his voice low and sincere. We need to make sure this never happens again. We can't let our mistakes define us. I nodded in agreement, feeling a strange connection that transcended the chaos around us. We were survivors, bound by the horrors we had witnessed and the choices we had made. In that moment, amid the wreckage of our ambitions, a spark ignited, a spark that hinted at the possibility of redemption and the promise of a shared future. As we walked away from the smoldering ruins, the night air whispered with the echoes of our escape. The Nano Plague may have left its mark, but the resilience of the human spirit, and perhaps the potential for something more, lingered in the cool breeze of the aftermath.